And that's the gentleman over here. What's your name? Robert. As Robert suggested, so it's not my fault. You should blame him. We did an exercise in the beginning, and I'd like to do it with you too. Science has shown that if the energy in the room is high, and if you're feeling great, you tend to remember more of what's being said. So in order to give you more value out of your valuable time today, I would like to do a small exercise. So everyone that had recently joined, I think, since 2 minutes ago, please stand up. Everyone who has done it already, please stay seated. Robert's to blame. Okay, so look to the person on your left and look to the person to your right. You might have to walk around a little bit. Okay, let's give them both a high five. You've got 10 seconds. Go. Okay, thank you. Please sit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's start. Thank you. Okay, today I'm going to talk about what chickens and rainforest have in common, what a fire extinguisher has to do with a legacy application, why horses and functional requirements should be left alone, but also why robots and art are important for your future. And last but not least, why hamsters and discmans are a fundamental problem for your organizational growth. But of course, I also promised to talk about how to replace a rusty legacy application without wasting time and money. So don't worry, I'm going to talk about that too. But before we do that, I'd like to zoom out a little bit. I'd like to zoom out from the world of applications and software, which we are going to talk about today, to the world that we live in, to our planet, because that's changing quite a bit. Currently, we are living with almost 8 billion people on our planet. And the estimations are that it will peak around 9 to 10 billion people. And that all those people need to eat, they need food. And that has a direct impact on our food industry. Because we slaughter around 50 billion chickens per year, just to be able to feed everyone. And it also has a direct effect on our oceans, because estimations are that by the time of the year of 2050, the coral reefs will be gone. So imagine that those children will never see it. And by the year of 2064, the Amazon rainforest will be gone due to deforestation. So our world is changing, and that's why sustainability is important. And we have to think about our way and how we impact our planet. And what about the pandemic? What about COVID? It also has a direct impact on our business and our day-to-day lives. And what about the war in Ukraine? It also has a direct effect. And Bart and I talked to a potential client, I think 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and he was telling about how his company changed and how the things that I've shown you today had a direct impact on their business, because their energy cost went from 50,000 euros per day to 450,000 euros per day. So that's an increase of 9 times. And they had to shut everything down. They had to shut down the factory, send everyone home, and that business is currently not running anymore. And although that might be a bit scary, there's also good news, because the good news is that we are part of the solution. We can change things. In order to do that, there's a wise man called Jim Rohn who once said, if you want things to change, you have to change. And if you want to change, you have to focus on the things that you can control, because the other things you cannot control. So what about the things that we can control? Well, there's been a lot going on in the world of IT. So let's talk about the Apollo 11 mission. This was the board computer that was on that rocket. And if you would compare that to a modern smartphone that you and I both have in our pockets, that smartphone is 100,000 times stronger in processing power than the computer that landed the Apollo 11 rocket on the moon. And what about artificial intelligence? Because you can go to this website and type in a random text, and it will generate art for you by using artificial intelligence. And what about robots? Because Elon Musk pronounced his new robot, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago. And he said, and he promised that he can deliver within 2 to 5 years a robot that would cost $20,000 and will do all the boring and repetitive tasks that we have to do ourselves now. So imagine how that would impact our day-to-day lives and our businesses. So there are loads of opportunities due to awesome technology. The question is, what are you going to do in the next 3 to 5 years with that new technology? My name is Rutger Boomars. I've been around in the IT world for 15 plus years. I've always been focused on core applications. I've seen many companies, seen many solutions, and I've also seen the very same problem over and over again. And I'd like to change the way people think about IT and the way they think about IT in terms of achieving their organizational goals, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do. And I work for Incentro, and Incentro is a cool company. I can talk about that for hours, but these are some of our figures. We have 450 employees. We've been around for 25 years, so we know what we're talking about. And our purpose is to let our clients grow in a sustainable way. And we focus on building core applications with low code, although Peter Paul pronounced today that we're not going to do that anymore. And this is our team. This is a team of 14 people who are ready to achieve your ambition by using this great technology that we cannot call low code anymore. And we've seen rapid growth. We started with 2 people in Q2 2021, and we currently have 14 people. We specialize in companies who are unique and who have unique products and services, who worry about their core systems and experience a lack of organizational agility, and who are quite frankly unable to adapt to the world that is changing around us, and who want to quit spending big budgets on maintaining outdated core applications. And although this is an awesome mixtape, we've got to be honest, it's outdated. So we need technology to change. And instead we offer them something else. We offer them core systems that will never have to be replaced, ever again. And that's a big promise. And as Peter Paul also said, it's something that you have to work on because they almost never believe you. We've experienced that in the last 1.5 years. And in all honesty, that's not how we started 25 years ago either. We've done it too. We have helped many customers with rebuilding their core applications every 5 years. And it's a great business model for us as a consultancy company, but not for you as a client, not for you as a customer. And it's not sustainable. And then you might say, Rutger, why is it not sustainable? Well, the answer is 2 things. There are 2 major problems. The first one is new technology today will be the legacy of the future tomorrow. And that awesome mixtape that we once had to be replaced by something new. And it did the very same thing, right? It was just another product. And then we had to switch to this product. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's a mini disc. And although the technology changed, the process was the same. We just wanted to listen to that awesome mixtape. And quite frankly, we are burning money just to change from one technology to another. So we're kind of stuck in the rat race, in the hamster wheel. The second problem is the speed, or actually the lack of it, because this is the average backlog that companies have that we talk to. And if I speak to them and say, well, what are the wishes of the business, the things that they would like to change? Well, sort of look like this, which results into people finding other ways to achieve their goals, because people in their business running their day-to-day operations are not going to wait for you to update your core systems. They're just going to find a way around it, which results into all kinds of problems. But if I talk to those organizations, they have awesome products and awesome services, which should allow them to excel and be the top competitor in their business. But the problem is there's too much weight on their back, and that's something that we need to change. So instead, we started to help customers stop rebuilding their core systems and replacing their core applications every 5 years. And we got them out of the wheel. We said, don't do that again. And instead, rebuilding it one more time. And you have to convince them to do that, because that's not easy. If you're saying, stop rebuilding, and then one last time, takes some convincing power, right? But it allows them to spend IT budget on actually things that create value, because that's what we should do, which results into IT enabling your organization to grow. And that's what we should do as IT people. And in order to do that, we have to face a major challenge. And that's a transformation in the way we think. We all think. And as Einstein once said, we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So we have to change the way we think. And we have to change the way we look at creating core applications. And I know that might be a bit scary. And that's just how the human brain works. So I've got with me today a real-life example. This is a customer of ours, and their name is Human Total Care. They have different labels, Arbonet, Human Capital Care for the Dutch people around, they might know them. And they focus on sustainable behavioral change. They have 1,500 employees, and they service 65,000 organizations, 1.5 million people. So it's quite a big company. And their mission is that we are committed to a healthy and competent working Netherlands. And they had a problem, because they had a legacy applications for 15 plus years old. And it was based around the legally required investigation that they do for their clients, which is a core business application. And what it did was, it's a legally required risk assessment that their customers need to do, and every company needs to do, every 4 years. And it has to be done by a health and safety expert, and it has to do with working and safety conditions. So for example, if there's no fire extinguisher around, they will note that, and they will create a report saying that need to change. And they did all that with a 15-year-old plus legacy application. And the problems were that they were unable to get more updates. They had insufficient knowledge about how the application actually worked. The people who simply left, who built it. And they had unreliable reports. And then you might say, oh, reports are a little bit unreliable, what's the problem? Well, this was their main product. This was the product that they were marketing. This is the way that they create value for their customers. So that's a big, big problem. And last but not least, they had unsolvable bugs. So they had an unpredictable future. The consequences were they were wasting, the employees were wasting time, they had unhappy customers, and they were missing out on opportunities in the marketplace. And as some of the people who were part of this project said, the application is simply slowing us down and holding back growth. So they formulated a desired situation. And the desired situation was, we need a new application. It should be stable, it should be reliable, it should meet all the functional requirements, and it should create happy people and happy customers. But that's the classic approach. And existing products in the market were not sufficient. So what did they do? The first option that they had was using their competitor software. But if you use your competitor software, what kind of competitive edge do you have, right? So that was not an option. The other option was, and there was only one option left, building our own. So they looked at high code, and they looked at low code, and then classic approach is not the answer, is what we discussed together. And this is the way Henry Ford formulated it. If I asked people what they wanted, they would ask for a faster horse, but instead I gave them a car. So they needed a car, not a faster horse. So what we did was we went through our 3-step process of experience, plan, and build. And we looked at our partners, and we selected Thinkwise as the partner that we wanted to work with. So together with Thinkwise, we started working with them. And of course they had doubts, because it was a scary thing. They had understandable doubts, such as, is it functionally possible, what we're trying to achieve with this product, with Thinkwise? Is it actually that fast? But also, does Incentro understand what we need? Because our business is unique, and do those consultants have the ability to understand what it is? So what we did was we created a proof of value. And as some of our colleagues who are currently here, they worked on that, and it went seriously fast. We created an application for the questionnaire that they have, which is inventorize, evaluate, and taking actions, and that's their main process. And of course, we did something about those reports, and also they might not look that fancy. The customer thought that it was a finished product, and there were things that they wanted to change because they thought that this was the end result. So we needed to lower those expectations and said, this is a proof of value. Take it easy. We're not there yet. And this was the feedback from the customer. They said it was seriously fast. All the functional requirements were checked. The looks of the applications were very important, and we checked that box as well. They experienced our skilled consultants, and we have shown effective communication and decision making. And to summarize that, they were seriously impressed. And this is not my work. This is the work that my colleagues did. But that's only the first step for this customer, because they are now ready to move away from that horse and use a car instead. And that's only the beginning. This is the first application that we are going to build with them, and there's more to follow. And now they can stop rebuilding core applications every 5 years. They can go away from the hamster wheel and go away from the rat race, spend IT budget on things that actually create value, which is something that we are all trying to achieve, and IT supporting the business to grow in a sustainable way. And this is the first step in a strategic decision for this company. We are Incentro. We focus on enabling sustainable growth. We have multiple partnerships, such as Thinkwise, but we have more. We have a unique culture, and we can talk about that later. There are 4 major things that we differentiate from. We have awesome consultants who all have their own special qualities and all their special focus points. And we focus on those people for one major reason. Our employees are our product. The people are our product, because they are the ones who help our customers go from their problem to the desired outcome. And that results into a test that we do every year, which is called Great Place to Work, and we end up in the top 3 year after year, because we take care of our people. We care about sustainability, sustainable growth for our customers, but also for ourselves. And if you talk about the things that we can control, then you might say, Rutger, what are you doing to focus on sustainability? Well, we had a mission at Incentro, and we said we want to reduce our carbon footprint by the year of 2025, and we wanted to reduce it to 0. So this is what we did. We bought a windmill. We are the first IT company that bought their own windmill. It's located in the north of Netherlands, in Friesland, and we calculated how much CO2 emissions we had, and I've got the numbers here, so I'll share them with you. So we had a consultancy company come in, and they calculated that we had 372 tons of CO2 per year. That was last year, 2021. And if you recalculate that into energy, that's 1.3 gigawatts. And this windmill produces 2.2 gigawatts. So this year, we achieved our mission to reduce our carbon footprint to 0. But this is the beginning. Our next focus point is keeping it this way as we continue to grow. Incentro is without wasting time and money on maintaining outdated core applications, worrying about the future, and feeling stuck and unable to adapt to the changing world around us. And we help our customers replacing new core applications once and then never again, and stop the rat race of rebuilding these applications 3 to 5 years, and instead have budget for innovation and for progress, which ultimately results into growth. And for our customers to be constantly being able to adapt and anticipate on new developments in the market, such as the robots that I talked about, and outsmarting their competitors so that they can be the number 1 in their marketplace, and avoid losing market share and being overtaken by the competitors. We are Incentro. Thank you for your attention.
Rutger, thank you very much for sharing this inspiring story with us today. We have room for some questions, so if there are any questions, please raise your hand and I will throw the catch box to you, and you can speak on the white cross and we can go over your questions. Yes, on the right side. Here we go.
Rutger, what's the difference between lowering your carbon footprint and compensating it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, we have offices and we have cars and things that produce CO2. So there are things that we can reduce. So we can reduce our carbon footprint by, for example, switching from gasoline cars to electric cars, which is what we did. And if you do that, you can reduce your CO2 emissions a little bit. But of course, we have offices as well. We need to be heated or cooled in the summer, which causes CO2, and we cannot change that. So the only way we can do that and get to 0 is by compensating that. So that's how we did that.
Any other questions? Yes. all up front here. You can just throw it that way. We'll eventually... Oh!
Everyone okay?
We almost lost our next speaker there, but we're still good,
I
luckily.
thought maybe Rutger could stand in this outfit, but it's fine, in this suit. So...
So Dennis is asking how much we charge for a proof of value, which is an interesting question. Do you might have something to do with that? It's a good question. We have something special today. So we have something that you can win. We have a free proof of value. If you come to our booth, you can subscribe to that and get a chocolate bar in return. And maybe you'll win the free proof of value, such as Human Total Care did today. Thank you for that question, Dennis.
And a last question. Anyone all the way in the top?
All the way in the top.
Yeah, on the top right. So if you would like to throw the...
Oh, we've stopped throwing it.
We stopped throwing it, that's fine.
It broke down?
Where was the question?
We're switching.
Is it working again? Yes.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that you started on working with low code on 2021, right?
Yeah, that's good. Now, yeah, but Thinkwise.
Yeah. So my question is actually, how can you prove that you don't need to replace it every 3 to 5 years if you have started so recently?
That's actually a very good question. Thank you. Well, if you look at some of the clients that Thinkwise have, they have been around for more than 20 years. Some of the clients that we work for as well, and they've never switched from one technique to another. They always went on the same platform, and they never switched. So history has shown in the last 20 years that it's not necessary.
So you do have customers that having a low-code solution that actually exists for more than 5 years, and the cost on that platform are significantly lower.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Thank you very much, Rutger, for being here today. And
welcome.
please give him another great round of applause.